Yo, what's up, you guys? It's your boy 3Stacks in this thing, and it's been a long time since I've updated my flower Cardians. I didn't even update them when I got the support from Raging Tempest. Like, I just hadn't done an update on them. Like, I've been doing so many other decks. But I realized I had to eat my own words because, you know, I do so many underrated archetypes, and how can I sit here saying that I do underrated archetypes and not showcase my flower Cardians? So today I'm going to showcase you guys my flower Cardians and my Kawaki Marus. Now, Kawaki Marus are the most underrated archetype and probably an archetype that people just never saw that had potential to do anything. So we're going to showcase both of these decks, and we're going to show some appreciation for some of the decks that people think can't compete. Now, you guys know that I've definitely proven that it's not the deck, it's the player, because I've actually taken decks that are not meta at all and that people have given a bad rep, and I've bodied people playing absolute pure meta. Hair to Perfection is just one of the prime examples, but I'm just that anti-meta douchebag. So it's been a long time since we've updated the flower Cardians, and they're so freaking broken, dude. On the low, I've been trying to figure out how to make this deck more broken, so I've been tweaking with it for a lot. Even though you guys haven't seen updated deck profiles on this, I'm always working on all of my decks. Everything is a project to me, and it's never really finished. So this deck was a huge project to me because I wanted to make it like borderline broken. So we're going to hop right into this deck profile without further ado. First and foremost, we're playing 3 copies of Blossom with Curtain. Now, their names are really, really cool. Their artwork is awesome. This is my favorite flower Cardian monster. When he came out in Raging Tempest and I read this card, I was like, I'm getting 3 of these. I'm getting 3 of these. Anybody got Raging Tempest packs? You pulled these? Let me get them from you. I know you're not going to use them. Dude, he's freaking broken. This guy, oh man, he's so good. Like, this guy, it's just, oh my goodness. I really don't want to explain all their effects, but I will give you a simplified version of what flower Cardians do. They draw and they special summon, spam the field, and they don't really plus. That's one thing. They don't really plus. You're not going to end with 5 cards in hand. But they do draw and special summon. And when we get further into the deck, I'll get further into it and explain some other things. But the reason why Curtain is so broken is because he gets you a flower Cardian on the field for free, which allows you to bring out all your other ones. Because there are certain flower Cardians that say in their effect you have to control a level something or higher. The lowest level would be level 8 or lower. I'm sorry, I said or higher. A level this or lower. For example, how your Zebra, right? Zebra says if you control a level 7 or lower, you can special summon him. The Willow dude says if you control a level 10 or lower, you can special summon him from hand. So if you reveal him and special summon him, all your other Cardians that are the baby modified versions, you can special them from hand for free. So he literally sets you up for everything because you have to have him to do the plays. Back in the day, it was just like, well, not back in the day when this deck first came out, you just had to have Pine. If you didn't have Pine, you would literally lose, so this deck was horrible. But this guy fixes that. You just reveal him, you're gonna special summon him. You reveal him, then you reveal the top card of your deck. It's a flower Cardian. You get to add it to your hand, so you basically draws, and then you'll special summon him. He's a hand trap also. In battle, you can discard him and give any flower Cardian monster 1,000 attack, which is really, really broken. This guy's just insane. Like, he pushed this deck a lot further than where it was, because it was kind of boo-boo, I'm not going to lie. I was trying to figure out, like, how the heck am I going to play this deck, you know, before the new support came out in Raging Tempest. 3 copies of Pine. Now, the Pines, they're not very good to me, but I do like the actual Pine, because he's like the normal summon of the deck, and he actually just basically lets you get to draw a card. Like, just simplifying, he just lets you draw a card, and if he dies, you draw another one. It's really cool. Most of the flower Cardian draw effects say draw a card. If it is a flower Cardian, you know, you're going to keep it. But it basically says draw a card. If it's a flower Cardian, if it's not a flower Cardian, you know, discard it. And then the Mega Evolve. So this is where I'll explain. So the flower Cardians have baby versions with 100 attack and defense. Pine is the only one that's actually normal summonable. Well, yeah, the other ones are normal summonable, but he's the only one that you're actually going to normal summon, because the other ones are like level 8, level 10, level 12. But basically, every baby version that's not Pine has an effect that says if you control a certain level flower Cardian or lower than that level, you can special summon them. So Willow's a great example. He's a level 11, right? So he says if you control a level 10 or lower flower Cardian, you can special summon him from your hand. Now notice how the level says 10 and he's a level 11, and that's what you're going to notice in this deck. That's how they all work. Basically you can't control a Willow and special a Willow, which is basically what it's saying. You have to have a level lower than itself, which is pretty simple. When you get the Curtain or when you get the Pine on the field, you just special, go off with your combos. Deck is extremely combo oriented. I love it. So as I was explaining, the baby versions have 100 attack and defense, and the ones that are not Pine have an effect where you can special summon them if you control a certain level or lower. Pine is the only one that you're going to be normal summoning, and he does not have an effect that lets him special summon himself. So you have to normal summon him unless you bring him out via another Flower Cardian effect. And I'm only running one of his Mega Evolve form because it's one of my least favorites, and honestly the only actual level 1 I play is honestly Pine. So you do not want to brick. You don't really want to draw this card. He's kind of something you want to stack off of flower stacking if you have the Pine. But he also acts as a Flower Cardian name, which is really nice. Now I'm going to explain the Mega Evolved ones, which we're talking about Pokemon here, but we're just going to call it Mega Evolved. That's what I've always called them. So the Mega Evolved forms of the Flower Cardians, notice how I called them the Pines, because this is Baby Pine, and this is Pine's fully matured self, his Mega Evolved form, so full power. He has 2,000 attack and 2,000 defense now, and in order to get him out, you basically have to sacrifice Baby Pine. And what it actually says in his card text, what all the Mega Evolved forms will say is, tribute a Flower Cardian monster with the exact same level as them, except for their self, which is another reason why you don't want to run multiples of him, because if you have him on field and you draw one of him, you can't get it out by sacking him. You have to sacrifice the baby form. That's why I call it Mega Evolving. So you Mega Evolve your Pine into Big Pine. When the Mega Evolved monsters are special summoned, period, when they're special summoned, you get to draw a Flower Cardian. You get to draw a card. If it's a Flower Cardian, you special summon that monster. So if you can think of how the deck goes, it just goes boom, 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 boom. You draw a special, effect, special, draw, special, draw. That's how the deck goes. But I'm playing one Mega Evolved of the Pine. So I hope I thoroughly explained the Mega Evolved forms. You have to sacrifice the baby to special summon them. They cannot be normal summoned or set. And if they're special summoned, you get to draw a card. If it's a Flower Cardian, you special that. Then they have their own effects in addition to drawing a card when they're special summoned. They have their own effects that let you draw another card. This guy says if he battles, draw a card. So he can attack, be attacked, or he could just attack directly and you'll get to draw a card. Now the other Mega Evolved forms, you'll read like they're basically specific way to get their effect, but they're all just going to draw cards. For example, the Mega Evolved Zebra says if he destroys a monster by battle, draw a card. That's in addition to the effect, in addition to him drawing a card and special summoning to get himself on the field. So you'll draw 2 cards. Basically, if I'm explaining it, if you're understanding how I'm explaining it, you're going to draw 2 cards off of each Mega Evolved. Draw one when they're special, and then when you trigger their actual effects, you'll draw another one, which is really nice. So that will sum up the Pines. Moving forward to my actual favorite class of Flower Cardians. I've actually categorized them in classes. Now, my favorite class of Flower Cardians is the Willows. The Willow family is lit. They're the best ones to me. They're my favorite. So Willow himself says if you control a level 10 or lower Flower Cardian, special summon him, and then he can target a Flower Cardian monster in your grave, recycle that back into your deck, and draw a card. So he basically, you special him and Baby Digusto Emerald. And it's not a once per turn effect, so you can actually, if you have a Flower Curtain on the field, you can special, draw, which is really cool. And when you're running low on resources, especially when you need targets, for example, for your Flower Gathering, if you need targets for it to be live, you can use this effect to recycle one of the babies, because Flower Gathering only brings out the baby versions with the 100 attack. So Willow is one of my favorite monsters in this deck, aside from Blossom with Curtain himself, who is the best to me. And we're also playing 3 copies of Willow with Calligrapher. That is how much I love the Willow family. He is the only Mega Evolved monster in this deck that I play at 3. In addition to him being broken, he is actually the best tuner in the deck. Especially when we didn't have Peony with Butterfly. He was like the only tuner. I'm sorry, Peony with Butterfly, I take that back, is the best tuner. He's really broken. But this guy is my favorite tuner. I just love his artwork because he literally has Light Shower on his artwork. Look at Light Shower. Look there. It's really cool. I love it. But same thing as all the Mega Evolved forms. Your special draw. And then he has another effect where when you synchro summon using him as a synchro material, all the other Flower Cardian monsters are treated as level 2s. So that would be like, some people might look at this deck and say, how the heck do you synchro summon? You have level 12s, 11s, 8s, all that. The tuner's own effects will make the monsters level 2, and when we move forward to the spells, you will find a spell known as Super Koi Koi, which will set you up with that. Moving forward to my second favorite class. No, I'm sorry, my third favorite, because my second favorite class is actually the Pines, because I love Flower Cardian Pine himself. He's really good. But we're playing 3 copies of Zebra Grass. Now, this guy is amazing. I really love him so much, because Flower Cardians are not a borderline consistent deck. Half of the deck is consistent, and half of it is just a chance by gamble. And I hope I'm making sense. If anyone out there has played Flower Cardians, you know what I'm talking about. Half of it is consistency, and half of it is luck. Now, I'm not going to lie. Sometimes you will get lucky with this deck. And then, you know, when you run the right ratios in your cards, when you run 3 of what matters and 1 of what doesn't matter, it'll work out perfectly. That's why I play 3 Zebra Grass. Now, he is a baby. So as I explained to you guys earlier, the babies, if they control a level, if you control a Flower Cardian whose level basically is lower than them, special. Notice how he's a level 8. He says if you control level 7 or lower, special him from hand. When he's normal or specialed, you can reveal any number of Flower Cardian monsters in your hand, shuffle those cards into the deck, draw that equal number of cards. So you can imagine that he actually makes your hands a lot better, especially when you draw cards with, you know, when you draw hands with dead Flower Cardians where you draw like the Mega Evolves. Now, I run the bare minimum of the Mega Evolves because they're dead in hand. You have to have the babies to bring them out. So you don't really want to have too many Mega Evolves, but if you draw a hand with too many Mega Evolves and you happen to have Curtain or Pine, you can special him, put those Mega Evolves back and fix your hand. Now, I play 1 of his Mega Evolve form, which is Zebra Grass with Moon. Notice how the Mega Evolves also keep the name. He is Zebra Grass, and his ultimate powered up full power form is known as Zebra Grass with Moon, which is really, really cool. It's basically him added with an additional bonus. And it's the same thing, the draw and special. And if this guy destroys a monster by battle, you draw a card. Moving forward to my absolute least favorite class of the Flower Cardians is the Paulwinas. I play 1 Paulwina. I hate this card. I really do. He's literally here just for your, what is it called? Your flower gathering. And if you happen to draw into him before you get to Flower Guardian, that is another reason why Willow is so powerful and so important in this deck, because you can use Willow, put him back into your main deck. That way you will always have 4 different baby names for your flower gathering to go off. I hate Paulwina though with a passion. And even though he can be a good card, most people know how to read, you know, and once you read his effect, you're never going to attack him. Most people say this guy's good because his actual effect, so he's a baby, so obviously if you control a certain level Flower Cardian, you can special him from hand. He's a 12, so you have to have a level 11 or lower. Now, his actual effect on field is if he's targeted for an attack, negate the attack in the battle phase and draw a card. Oh my god, that sounds so broken. Who the heck is actually going to attack this guy? No idiot in their right mind, even an idiot, would read this card and then declare an attack on him. They know what's going to happen. So it's kind of like that card where you're just never ever going to resolve. Not once in a duel have I ever resolved this card. And I'm not even going to lie to you and over exaggerate and say, I've resolved this card 2 to 3 times a duel. No, dude, I've never resolved it. And I really don't like it. And I play 1 of his Mega Evolve form because his Mega Evolve form is actually fairly decent. His draw effect pretty much says if he inflicts battle damage, which tends to happen, especially, you know, when you get the right setup, he can inflict battle damage and draw a card. That's basically the only reason why I play him. And also to sack off baby Paulwina, you know, Mega Evolve right into it. So you want to play at least 1 of each Mega Evolve form just so that you can actually evolve them. It's really, really fun and cool when you have the baby, turn the baby into its grown-up, matured adult form. Now, that will sum up the classes of the Flower Cardians. Moving forward to the broken new Flower Cardians that make the deck a lot better. We are playing 2 copies of Flower Cardian Maplewood Deer. Now, in a full-fledged sense, Maplewood Deer is the MST of the deck. What's really broken about this card is you can tribute any Flower Cardian monster. It doesn't have to have a level or restriction or modification. And if he's special summoned, which means you can special summon him off of your Mega Evolves. Like, remember, the Mega Evolves, when they're special summoned, you draw a card. If you draw your Flower Cardian monster, you can special it. So if you draw Deer, you can special Deer. Deer's effect kicks in, destroy a spell or trap on the field, which is really cool. So these are great cards to draw into. And another broken part about Deer is it does not target. It says destroy a spell or trap on the field, which is something to keep in mind. especially when we get forward to the board. But I love this guy because he just literally says tribute a flower guardian monster, which helps you out a lot. Because when you resolve your flower gathering, if you don't have a tuner to synchro summon, you want to sack off all of those 100 monsters because they're going to be in attack position due to the restrictions of the actual spell itself. You don't want to risk taking damage, so you want to sack them off for other guys and get a bunch of other effects and just snowball everything. Now, moving forward to one of the best methods of removal, probably in the game of Yu-Gi-Oh! I really wish that there were more cards that had this effect. This is the same summoning condition of Deer. Tribute a flower guardian monster. If this guy is special summon, you can destroy one monster on the field. Now, why is this so broken? It does not target whatsoever. That's why I really wish that there were more cards like him. I wish Masterpiece was like that. I wish Masterpiece simply said destroy a card on the field. Not targeting is very crucial. You need to remember that because there are a lot of cards in the game of Yu-Gi-Oh! That can't be targeted. This guy gets over them because he doesn't target. So he can get over boss monsters, which is really, really nice. And when you special summon him, going through your combos with your Mega Evolves, draw, special, effect, pop, which is really nice. That's why I like that. They don't say if they're special summoned by their effect. It's just if they're special summoned. Oh, it's so broken. You can even use the Flower Guardian spells and traps to special your Flower Guardians and trigger their effects, which is really nice. The final Flower Guardian that I play is one Peony with Butterfly. Now, I cannot find my second Peony Butterfly. I don't know where it is because I pulled like a bunch of extra random Flower Guardians with my Invasion of Vengeance packs, but I can't find Peony. So what I might do is, you know, end up picking up some more Invasion of Vengeance or just look for somebody with Peonies. Because I originally played this card at 2. Now, if you guys want to, you can play it at more than 2, but I'm sorry, my throat's getting dry. I honestly played this card at 2 originally. But I definitely recommend, you know, just try the deck out in different ratios and see what works for you. But this guy is really, really broken. So when you resolve him, you can actually, let me read this to you because this is broken and I don't want you guys to think I'm making this up. So you tribute a Flower Guardian monster to special summon him. You look at the top 3 cards of your opponent's deck. Think of spirals. Then you place them all on the top or the bottom of the deck in any order. Now, understand what that said. I can look at 3 cards from your deck and then I can put them at the top of your deck or in any order, or I can put all 3 of them on the bottom of your deck. Imagine what you would have top decked and now think of it as you're never getting it anyways, which is why he's so broken. I played this card at 2 for a reason. I wanted to play the Deer, the Boar, and Butterfly all at 2 because similar to other Flower Guardians, you have to tribute a Flower Guardian to bring them out. So you don't want to play any of them at 3. You want to open up with the Flower Guardians that let you special summon themselves freely, like Willow and Curtain and Zebra Grass, because you don't need to sacrifice anything. You just special them. And then getting into these cards later on, you'll be able to tribute off a monster and draw and then special. If it makes sense, if you play Flower Guardians, you understand what I'm saying. If you play 3 Deers, 3 Boars, and 3 Butterflies, right? And you open up with one of each, and then you drew into something like Flower Stacking, and then let's say, for example, like another Mega Evolve. That's a completely dead hand. So that's my reason for playing Peony with Butterfly at 2, even though I can't find my second one, simply because I don't want to open up with him and not have a way to get him out. And it's just, that's how the deck works. Like, you'll understand more when you start playing Flower Guardians that there are certain things that you just have to play at certain numbers because of the functionality and playstyle of the deck. Now, spells. This is where the deck gets really interesting. Foolish Burial Goods is a powerful engine in this deck because all of the Flower Guardian back rows, except for Reincarnation itself, have effects if they're in the graveyard. Now, Reincarnation itself, it does have a graveyard effect, but it says if it's sent to the graveyard by a Flower Guardian monster's effect. So Foolish Burial Good obviously is not a Flower Guardian monster, so it can't kick off this effect. But you can Foolish Burial Good for your Super Koi Koi, or for your flower stacking, or even for Metal False Fusion, which I love to play with Foolish Burial Goods. So one of the best things that you can do in this deck is literally just Foolish for Koi Koi, because Koi Koi can be banished immediately the same turn it was sent to the grave. Kick off its effect, special a Flower Guardian from your hand that naturally you couldn't special, ignoring its summoning conditions. For example, a Mega Evolved. Like, you would normally have to sacrifice the baby version. Let's say you have this Mega Evolve guy, right? And you open Foolish in him. You could Foolish, send your Super Koi Koi, banish Super Koi Koi, special him his effect, draw, special another one. Now you'll pull off a whole combo off of that one card. Foolish Barrel Goods is amazing in this deck. There's too many different targets. It's too broken. I just wish it was not an only once per turn effect. If you could activate more than one, this card would be awesome in this deck. You would really turbo out a lot, but you play that 3 because it's a card that's worth the risk. We also play 3 of my favorite freaking support card for this deck. Super Koi Koi is the freaking bomb, dude. I love this card. Koi Koi, dude, I love this freaking card. I love it so much. You can excavate the top 3 cards of your deck. If they are all Flower Cardian monsters, you can special summon all 3 of them, ignoring their summoning conditions. They become level 2 monsters and their effects are negated. That does not matter. It gives you fodder for synchro summons, for tribute to special, Mega Evolved. As I explained, you know, certain Flower Cardians require for you to sacrifice a Flower Cardian to bring them out. This sets you up perfectly. Then you can immediately banish it from the graveyard, tribute a monster, special a Flower Cardian from your hand, ignoring its summoning conditions. Koi Koi is like a soul charge in this deck. Now, the downside is if the excavated cards that you excavate from it are not Flower Cardians, you banish them face down, and then you lose 8,000 life points for each card that is not Flower Cardian. So it tends to literally be just like a soul charge. But it is such a broken card when you resolve it the right way. I love Super Koi Koi. It is my favorite spell in this deck, aside from Foolish Barrel Goods. 3 copies of Flower Stacking. This spell fixes a lot of problems you would have. You literally, in its name, what it says, you stack Flower Cardians on the top of your deck. Now think of how Flower Cardians operate. They need to draw to special, right? So you can play this and you're going to know that when you activate this effect, right? Draw a card. If it's a Flower Cardian, there is no if it's a Flower Cardian. It is a Flower Cardian because you stacked it. This sets you up for so many combos because you're going to draw a special and you could basically put the Flower Cardians that you need. For example, if you need Zebra, you're like, my hand's kind of awkward. You can stack Zebra and then special another Flower Cardian, effect, draw. Every single Flower Cardian that has an effect when it's special will draw. And then if it's a Flower Cardian, bring it out, right? Effect activates as soon as he's summoned, fix your hand. Flower Stacking is just an amazing spell card in this deck. It literally just chooses 3 Flower Cardian monsters with different names, put them on top of your deck. Then it has a grave effect where you can banish it and add a Flower Cardian monster from your grave to your hand, which is amazing. Flower Stacking is broken. Now moving forward to 3 Reincarnation. This spell has won me games. If you excavate it from your deck, that's the best effect. Its main effect is target a Flower Cardian monster in your grave, add it from your graveyard to your hand, then you can special summon 1 Flower Cardian from your hand, ignoring its summoning conditions, which is very important because some of them can't actually be summoned except by their own effects. Then it has an effect if it's sent to the graveyard by a Flower Cardian monster. You can literally excavate the top 5 cards of your decks and add 1 excavated spell or trap from your from those 5 to your hand. The rest of them, you can put them on the top of your deck in any order. This, when you resolve it, is better than Flower Stacking. Flower Stacking stacks 3. This can stack 4 or 5 depending on what it is. But the main point is it's an engine because when you activate a Flower Cardian monster's effect, right? Draw a card. If it's not a Flower Cardian, but it is Reincarnation, discard. Effect kicks in immediately. Excavate the top 5 cards. You can get a Foolish Barrel Goods. You could get a Super Koi Koi. You could get a Stacking, another Reincarnation. You could get a Lure of Darkness. You can get Flower Gathering itself. Then the other 4, which is the most important effect, go back to the top of your deck in any order you choose. You can literally set your combos up because remember, Flower Cardians have to draw Flower Cardians and you can pick certain ones that have broken effects. Dude, this deck is insane when it goes off. I'm telling you, it really is. 3 copies of Flower Gathering. This just special summons 4 babies from your deck. And their effects are negated and they're in attack position. Then you can only summon what you can only summon anyways. Flower Cardians. You can't really make anything else in this deck but Flower Cardian monsters for your extra deck. But this basically enables you to perform your Synchro Summon for your Light Shower the easy way by just sacrificing 2 cards. Which would be this and any of your either your Willow or Peony with Butterfly. And then you have an instant Light Shower right there, which is really awesome. So I do like Flower Gathering because it helps you to get your synchros faster. The babies with the 100 attack are not the tuners, but you sacrifice and Mega Evolve or bring out Peony by his own effect and you can Synchro Summon. Flower Gathering is amazing. It literally just special summons 4 monsters from your deck simultaneously. 3 copies of Allure of Darkness. There is a risk and reward for non-Flower Cardian cards and the spells that aren't befitting the archetype, like the spells like Koi stacking, reincarnation, there's a risk and reward, because if you draw them, you know, the normal way, then you get to keep them. But if you draw them off of a Flower Cardians effect, it actually has to go to the grave. So you will draw a Lord of Darkness sometimes off of their effect, and then it'll get discarded. But when you do draw this, it's amazing, because everything in this deck is dark, and it gets you really, really far in your game state. You need to draw certain cards. That's why there is a risk and reward, but the reward is higher than the risk with the lore. The final spell is Metaphor's Fusion. Now, this spell is really, really broken in this deck, not only because of Foolish Burial Goods, but because when you draw it off of your Flower Cardian monster's effects, you'll have to discard it because it's not a Flower Cardian monster. But what happens is it goes right back into the deck. You draw a card, and if you keep drawing this, it'll keep replacing itself, and you'll keep drawing anyways. So in a sense, you could think of it this way. If I draw this off of a Flower Cardian monster, I still get to draw. It's amazing. I love the way this deck works, and this is probably one of the most interesting Flower Cardian deck profiles that you will ever see. The extra deck should be self-explanatory. I played 2 copies of Light Flare. You will never actually make 3 in a duel. That is why I only play 2. I could just play 3 just to fill up space in the extra deck, but I'm being realistic and explaining to you guys what's actually going to happen. 3 Light Showers, you are actually going to go through all 3 of these in a duel. This guy is amazing. And also 2 Flower Cardian Board Flies. This guy actually wins games. He's like a floodgate. He is amazing. There's too many graveyard effects, especially those stupid True Dracos and just floaters like Yang Zings. Now, Light Flare can negate the activation of a spell or trap during either player's turn. If he leaves the field by a card effect, by your opponent's card effect, or by battle, you can special summon any of these guys from your extra deck. So he's a 5k floater, which is insane. Naturally, you just want to make him first, and everything else will come out later. Light Shower is actually amazing. He can't be targeted or destroyed by card effects. All of your Flower Cardian monsters, I repeat, all of them, cannot be targeted or destroyed by card effects, which is amazing. He can burn your opponent for 1500 during your opponent's draw phase, and then you can either skip your next draw phase to keep his effect active, or you can negate his effects to draw. So he does have kind of a downside, but he is worth it. This deck is it's like the definition of risk and reward, but there's a higher reward than there is a risk. And Boardfly himself. So I'm going to read him off because he's one of the most interesting. If a Flower Cardian monster attacks a defense monster, he inflicts piercing damage. Now that can help you to trigger certain Flower Cardian monsters' effect, especially the ones that says, if it inflicts battle damage, draw a card that will help you to kick off certain effects, which is amazing. And then also, once per turn, you can banish a Flower Cardian monster from your grave until the end of your opponent's next turn. Your opponent cannot activate any cards in the graveyard, and they cannot special summon monsters from the graveyard. Now, this guy wins games all by himself. He's actually the most versatile against the meta. These guys are kind of just beefy boss monsters that protect themselves, but he is the most versatile in this meta because he can kill certain decks to where they can't function, especially a deck like Lightsworns. Lightsworns absolutely thrive off of their grave. You make this card, you can win against Lightsworns. So Flower Cardians, they have their day. They really do. They have their days where it's like, dude, this deck is broken. But it's just kind of like, you know, again, it's a gamble. But I love this deck so much. It's so awesome. Thank you guys for watching this video. Be sure to show some love to the Flower Cardians. And like I said, I'm showing love to underrated archetypes. That's kind of how this channel became popular. It's how Team King of Games came to be, because if you notice, we show a lot of content that's underrated, underappreciated. We do meta just for, you know, those players out there that only care about meta. But what we care about is non-meta. We like old decks, and we like decks that people don't think can do damage. And what we like to do, me and all my teammates, we like to make a viable build that can do damage. And then the people that said it couldn't do damage, we beat them in a duel and laugh at their face. It's just so crazy, like what we do in this channel. It's amazing. I love it so much. I really do love what we do here. And I appreciate you guys for, you know, subscribing to this channel and for showing love to us and supporting us in everything that we do, and for watching our content, because you will learn a lot if you take the time and, you know, just take the time out your day to watch some of our videos. You'll learn a lot about Yu-Gi-Oh! And about the archetypes that we bring out, because we go in depth in explanations on everything. We will never leave you with any questions. That is for certain. God bless you guys. Make good choices. Don't hurt your brain cells. I love you so much. Y'all make sure you be safe. Have a beautiful day. Y'all just, man, I love y'all so much. Peace.